singles match: Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin.
Quick question before we move on. Would you rather watch Drew McIntyre versus Corbin or Drew McIntyre versus Moss?
Moss all the way for me. That's easy.
I'll go with Corbin.
I'd rather watch Moss.
Because
Moss will go out here and bump his ass off.
I'll go with Corbin. Hopefully they keep it short. At least people want to see Corbin get his ass beat, I would say.
Is that actually true? Because I don't recall ever seeing it ever working or people ever wanting to see him get his ass whooped. And it's been years. And they've tried it for years with him. Since 2017, they've tried to get people to care for getting his ass whooped. He'll end up getting Dean Ambrose after having like one of the best feuds in WWE the last of that era with him and AJ Styles. Who went from that to being put on the pre-show because Corbin will get you under.
Man,
everything he touched, he has the Midas touch step and said everything turns to gold, it turns to shit.
Yeah, man. I feel bad for Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is probably my favorite wrestler on the WWE main roster. He might be my favorite WWE wrestler. And he's stuck with Baron Corbin. And I couldn't imagine treating this guy like this. This guy, like I feel like we should be taking up a collection. I feel like we should be creating, change petitions, like something like what did Drew McIntyre do so bad to end up here? And people were tired of him. Like when he was in main events and all he was doing was coming out here and tearing the fucking house down. Like, I don't understand this. This is like a colossal failure. If you think about what he did at SummerSlam, he was wrestling Jinder Mahal, and now he's wrestling Baron Corbin. What are they doing with this guy? This guy's a generational WWE wrestler. What the fuck is happening? This guy
actually wants to be there.
This guy is arguably the greatest heavyweight wrestler ever in WWE. This is an embarrassment. Like, people should be up in arms about this. They should throw things at the ring when this is happening. This is awful. Like, poor Drew McIntyre. I hope when your contract's up, you look for greener pastures because, go wrestle somewhere else. No. This. You think I'm mad about Sasha Banks, right? But I think there's a level of
she's already halfway out the door
of making peace with Sasha Banks and already just a career of disappointment in that regard. Like, this is just another thing to add to the pile. But Drew McIntyre, you still have a chance to make this guy important. Like, this dude came back, went through the indies, went through NXT, went up the heel way, turned, got over, had a good title reign, had a bunch of bangers for the belt.
Mm-hmm.
It's the number 2 belt, but sure, and I don't know, man. It's frustrating, man, to see that guy in this match, in this spot, third, or he may open the show. Who knows? He'll be right in the middle. But
can you imagine opening a pay-per-view show with Baron Corbin in a singles match? That sounds like a disastrous mistake.
Yeah, they did it in 2017 with John Cena.
Oh my God, did they?
Yes.
WrestleMania 33? No, that was the pre. Wait, what pay-per-view are you talking about?
SummerSlam 2017.
Oh my God. Oh, he squashed him at least, whatever. Or effectively squashed him.
Well, my rating is a 7 for this match. All things Rich said, because I love my Drew. I love my Drew McIntyre. I was the one person that excited with his run. I like Baron Corbin as a person. I have never, and I like his finisher, but I've never really been all the way behind him as a actual in-ring performer and character. But I mean, if this is just a easy win or a big win for Drew, but yeah, my excitement is it's a 7 because they've at least tried to give it a storyline. Over the last month, they've been building to this match. They tried to make it matter by saying since he became Happy Corbin, he's undefeated. They've tried to do something. I mean, was it effective? No, not really. No one cares. I mean, in general, but they've tried to make this a WrestleMania match. They tried to make it important. Even Drew in his interview basically said, no one wants to see me wrestle Baron Corbin on a promo on the show
Imagine.
said no one wants him to wrestle Baron Corbin.
This is the way they sell it to you.
Yes.
What?
Yes. He said no one, but he wants to put him through as much pain as possible, and that is what we're dealing with. So, yeah, I mean, I know this is what it is. It's holding Drew off until he can eventually lose to Roman, and so it is what it is. But yeah, I love Drew, so I'm gonna always want to see Drew in whatever match he is. So I get Drew and Cody on the same night. I mean, come on, that's like perfect.
Drew McIntyre is fucking awesome, and like almost virtually every show he's on that I ever hear about, every match he's in on pay-per-view that I see, it's either great or very good. It's because of the effort level and the willingness to do things that you don't see out of dudes his size. Because when you bump like that, at that size, historically, we've always been told that like your body will break down very fast. That dude is high effort. That dude gives a shit and is not jaded and just going through the motions in a way that like a lot of wrestlers have been going through the motions in WWE for a long time. Given that like, why try so hard if they're just gonna break my spirit or whatever else? He still is out here fighting. He's still out here fighting. So to see him with with Baron Corbin, a guy that like is not a stiff, but it's also somebody that I never want to see wrestle. Like the only times I've ever like given a shit about him wrestling when he's in like 3-ways with AJ Styles and in Dolph Ziggler on SmackDown, right? Because you have two guys that are doing most of the work for him. He's a guy that liked wrestling, good athlete. He just didn't have the chops for it at a certain level. At a super high level. I think he's always been miscast as a person they tried to make the lone wolf and a faction leader or whatever else, when the reality was he should have always been at a tag team with someone else that could have been either a better worker or more charismatic to have made a team. It just never happened. Like he should have been put with all these years, whatever. He probably should have been put with Gable or whatever else, and been a big guy, little guy tag team or whatever else. But it just never worked out. But it is what it is, and we're here now. And yeah, man, the match is gonna be okay, but it's gonna be okay. And regardless of whoever wins or who loses, who cares, whatever. But match will be okay. So I'll just give it a 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10.
Yeah, I see Moss abandoning Corbin somewhere in the match. Drew dominating him and like pinning him with 1 foot.
Yeah, aren't they building towards a split between him and Corbin based off of like Corbin doesn't like the jokes he's telling now or something like that?
Yeah, he's telling jokes at his expense. He's telling jokes about Corbin, and that's where he's like, "Dude, no." And
Corbin gonna slap him?
Huh?
Is Corbin gonna slap him?
I think he's gonna have to slap him. He's gonna have to slap him, and I just see Drew winning in a dominant fashion, getting him out the way.
Tag team